Okay, so we're back at it again today with barbed wire fencing. That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here this morning. It is March 14th, 2020. Now, we've had a lot of rain this week. In fact, it's almost unprecedented the amount of rain that we've gotten here over the last week. We had 3 days straight where it rained almost the entire day. So we got a few inches out here on the farm, and if Lori wants to scan that way just a little bit, you'll see we've got a tremendous amount of weeds. I mean, there's some mallow right here, huge stand of mallow, but amazing to see how nice and green the desert is. Just a beautiful, beautiful morning this morning. Now, of course, all that is all well and good, but we need to get to fencing. So our goal today is actually to get all of the barbed wire fencing done around the entire perimeter minus the front of the property. So I'm going to go ahead and link our video here where we talked about finishing this cross section across the farm here. We did go ahead and finish that first side there, which is the west side of the property. That one we did realize pretty quickly that 4 strands of barbed wire is where we're going to wind up for these runs of barb. We didn't give, or we gave a little too much spacing between each one of the rows in order to get 5 rows in. So we're just going to stick with 4. But it wound up being really even, looks really, really good on the far side there. We do have 1 row we're going to get up on this one today to finish this one out, and then of course what you're going to follow along with us today, at least as much as we can get on camera, would be this side. So this is the east side of the property. Now we do know the folks that own the property on the other side here. In fact, they're neighbors down at the far end. In fact, you'll be able to catch it on camera. They're renting the house there that's the furthest out here to the east. So they're there, and then eventually they're going to have a homestead on the 8 acres next to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get some barbed wire up on this side, which may or may not be temporary fencing, but we're going to go ahead and get this done today. Now we do have some help this morning. We have our son Austin, so he was nice enough to come out again for a couple hours. We really need his help getting the T-posts in. Our T-post driver works fantastic, but because the T-posts are up 6 feet, it takes at least 3 of us to kind of get that up there, get the T-post straight, get that driven down into the ground. So now, of course, in order for us to get that part of it done, we need to get our first strand of barbed wire run across this side of the property and up to that next set of H-braces. So we're going to go ahead and get to work, get this first strand in, and get our T-post laid out and ready to go. Okay, so we got that taken care of. So if Lori wants to glance down that way, we got our bottom row of barbed wire in there, so that's taken care of. Now we do need to go ahead and get T-posts and the wooden posts in the ground there. But before we do that, while we're here, we're gonna go ahead and run our last line of barbed wire, which is gonna go across here over to the house. So this is a much shorter run. Now also, this area over here adjacent to the home will be where our outbuilding is gonna be. So that outbuilding is 30 feet deep by 50 feet wide. So this fence will actually continue to extend down another 30 feet or so eventually. So this is a temporary fix so that we can keep cattle out of here until that outbuilding comes in. Still got a month or two before that comes in. So Austin and I are going to go ahead and run a string of barbed wire over to that post next to the house, and then we'll go ahead and get started on those T-posts. Okay, so here we are. It's actually afternoon. We're going to wrap up for today. So we were able to get all of the barbed wire done around at least 3/4 of the property that we're going to get done with barbed wire. So what I want to do is kind of show you what we got to today, and then of course we've still got work to do tomorrow. Had a little bit of a flub up here. So when we were coming through here, this H-brace right here is temporary. So that is only here because we had to stretch wire here and go across the back of the house here, because that is also temporary. Like we were talking about this morning, we will have an outbuilding there. So the fencing around the perimeter will extend a good 30 or 40 feet further north on this side, and we'll have our permanent H-brace and actually be a corner brace down there. Now, as soon as we pulled the wire going across this way, we found out very quickly, as all of you who do this know, that this H-brace is designed to support the wire going that way, not that way. So right off the bat, when we pulled that bottom wire, this post actually started to give. So we had to come back and kind of rig it. Now, we know the owners of this property. This is actually our neighbors. So we talked to them and said, hey, can we use about 4 feet of linear space to put a secondary brace? So what we did is we took 2 7-foot T-posts, crossed them, I tied them together with some tie wire, and then we actually took some high tensile and we attached it to that post. Cranked that over several times, so we tightened those two things together. That's holding perfectly fine, and that straightened up perfect as well. So we were able to go ahead and get that done. We got the wires pulled that way, and then if Lori wants to pan this way, you'll see the rest of the wires here. Now, we didn't pull this as tight on this side because I need to show you that corner where we're buttoned up against the house. Again, this is temporary. So here we are right here at the house. So we have, again, temporary fencing here. This is all going to come up here in a couple months as soon as the outbuilding is out. But we did want to place a single post down here, and I'm going to actually use that here temporarily for the fencing, but it's actually going to stay there. The reason being, we have a whole lot of pipe underneath the ground right behind it, and I want to designate that area so that we don't have any equipment going over the top of that. So that actually is going to stay there even when we pull all of this barbed wire out and move all of this fencing to the front adjacent to the outbuilding. So we have that there. So now, of course, we have space. So we are going to have to come back when we do work on our gates, which won't be today, but we are going to have a temporary cowboy gate is what I'm going to call it. I don't know the actual term. I'll have to see if I can look it up. But essentially, we're going to have a very temporary gate here that will block it off so that we don't have cattle walking through here into the fenced off area. But it's very easy for us to go ahead and remove it if we want to walk around the house. So again, that will be temporary. Now, we got a lot done today. We worked all day long, got all of the fencing done with the exception of the front of the house. So lots of rain this week, so we're a little behind on working on the front of the house. The contractor for the farm fencing is scheduled to be here on Monday. So as long as they can get that done, we're actually going to be able to finish up our portion of the front of the house. Once that's complete, the actual fencing itself is 100% done. So we definitely need to get our fence stays, and we need to get our gates up. We won't leave them actually closed yet until we get all the fencing done, just in case we get cattle that might come through, but we still need to get the fence stays done. But at least for now, our portion of the barbed wire fencing is as done as we can be. So just want to thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Questions or comments, leave those in the comment section down below. Instagram and Facebook, we post content there you won't see here on the YouTube channel. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That is a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with that link, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you.